Welcome to the Prince Marcel Show, where I give my royal thought and insight on how we get to the bag for the culture. Whether it's from the nerd to the gangster, from the hood to corporate, bro. I'm here as your wealth mentor, Big Royal, your royal mentor. So let's get into it. Job Corps is out of there, but it's not the end all be all. My main question as we talk through this, but what we gonna do? That's only thing I want to know. What we gonna do? And here's why I say that, right? So we got to talk about it, and you can literally Google this just from the Department of Labor. Reading this off the Department of Labor's website. Hold on, and just so you know, I'm not capping. I'm gonna do this for you. I'm gonna share my screen real quick so you can see it yourself as we read through it. All right. So look, it says Department of Labor announces that they're going to be pausing operations nationwide. When I say it's out of there, I'm talking about they said, hey, we stopping every job corps across our entire nation, which is crazy to even say. How you gonna get to the money and you pausing people's opportunities to get jobs? That's how the community feel about it. And we definitely got to address it, especially from our perspective in the black community, because I'm talking to you from like growing up. Before I even really knew about the details of what a trade was, that was numero uno number two, option wise. They said, hey, bro, because our parents back in the day, our parents would be like, is you going to college? Yes or no? If you ain't going to college, next words out their mouth, hey, bro, you finna go to job corps, pick up a trade. Automatically. That was the next words out their mouth. Now, Job Corps was created to help young adults build a pathway and a better life through education, training, and community, said by the secretary, D. Rimmer. Now, however, it says starting number of serious incident reports, the physical year. So a lot of this they're basing. I'm gonna break it down for you, but like the physical analyst reveals that the program no longer achieving its intended outcome that the students deserve, right? And they're basically like, hey, look, it's costing a lot of money for us to run this program. What are we getting out of? And I'm gonna talk to you about that from two lenses. Now, I didn't even know that they were stating that they put like a things in the physical report. So let's talk about it. It says on April 25th, 2025, the department's employment and training administration released its first ever. So this is the first time they did it. This is called a Job Corps Transparency Report. Now, here are some of the key factors in the transparency report. All right. It says the average graduation rate. Hold on. I need you to see me when I say this. Okay. So the average graduation rate, and you can look this up yourself, they're saying this is estimated 38%. And I'm using whole numbers because there's some extra on there. The average cost per student is $80,000 plus a year. The average total cost per graduation, every graduation they host, they're saying costs them $155,000 a year. Post separation. Now, this number, when you hear it, it's gonna sound wild because it sounds wild to me, even as an entrepreneur, as a royal. I'm just like, hold on, so man, that don't sound like a wealth bearing career out the gate. It says post separation. So for me, from my interpretation, post separation is, yo, once you graduate, and I'm assuming they're adding numbers from your first year, says you're earning 16 $17,000 annually on average. I say, no, that can't be right. Because the numbers that you hear from electricians to HVACs to plumbers to, carpentry workers, handyman, steel, welders. It's like 60, 50, 50, 60, 70, 80. Them phone number ranges out the gate that they say you're supposed to be making, right? So I'm like, okay, this got to be like a paid internship, apprenticeship. That somewhat makes sense because now we ain't talking about how you feel. We're talking about how society operates. And hey, yo, you need to get your feet wet, right? You need to figure out what lane, what industry you in, how this works. How do you be a welder? How do you be a plumber? Like, your first year, you probably never even looked at the real intricate outlines of a sink. So I'm assuming this is internship or apprenticeship money right there, but it still ain't made no sense. Now, the craziest things that I seen from this report was what they added to me was like their versions of we're gonna layer this on top to tell the world, or at least our people, hey man, this is also why we considered this. They put misconduct in here. They put violence and safety procedures that were violated in here. I'm talking about some of these numbers. And it all right. So this is what I'm gonna do real quick. And I'm gonna do this because I think it's really important. Let me pull this up on my phone. And I actually forgot to grab this. The percentage. Uh, the percentage. Okay. Which is, I'm not surprised. So when they talk about the violations, right? And, misconducts, drug use, that whole nine. The numbers I don't like, and I don't like the picture the perceived painting that they're pitching to the world. And that's because half of the population, 47 via Google, if you want to be specific. They be like, oh no, so 47% and up, estimately half the population in Job Corps is black people. And I'm saying this in June, just so you know. Shout out Juneteenth. Because it's dropped this, of course, you're gonna see this in June. We air every Monday at like 8 o'clock. And I'm just like, yo, so that's why it bothers me so much because half of the people this isn't one location. I I Gemini'd what is the black population at Job Corps. I didn't say the Midwest. I didn't say down south. I specifically said Job Corps. So that means that every Job Corps nationwide, half of the people on that campus are black. So who is massively impacted when you shut down the entire org industry? My people, from my nephew to anybody who looks like me. And it's astounding how it happened, right? And there are other ethnic groups in there. So, like to say 20% are Hispanic, 30% are white. So, all around, people are affected, right? On an economical level, every class, if you still want to consider that there's a lower class, middle class, and higher class, these people are affected. Straight like that. Now, one thing I want to talk about is two things I want to talk about. But one thing I want to implement, because when they start talking about like, it's a money thing, it costs too much, we not getting nothing out of it, you having misconduct issues, drug issues, like these whole things. Let's talk about the positive things from keeping Job Corps running, which is why it was a focal point for a lot of black people, right? So the employment rates. Job Corps participates. Shout out to AI for helping me gather the information quickly. Job Corps participates with significantly more likely to be employed during their first 4 years after enrollment compared to like control groups or other groups, right? 89% of the Job Corps people have placements over everybody else. Earnings wise, so when you graduate, you coming out of the gate. Participants who completed their vocational certifications earn 40 to 50 more per week, $40 to $50 more per week on top of other counterparts, right? Everybody in an inner city, everybody in a low income label neighborhood, you don't think we need 40 to $50 more a week? No, no matter who it is. Now, long-term impact, positive. This is positive stuff. Why you saying it costs too much? This is a positive outcome, and I'm gonna say that. Sustained earnings for older participants 20 years after the enrollment, right? So you complete it, you've got a ground, you've got a foundation, who entered the program from ages 20 to 24, continue to experience higher earnings and employments compared to everybody else. Earnings by demographic. The African American people, Black people aged 20 to 24, experienced annual earnings gains approximately over $3,000, significantly long-term benefits for that group. Specifically, because now I want to tell you like how this impacts my community, since half of the population of the Job Corps are Black people. Black men. Let me tell you something. Because I need you to. I'm a wealth mentor and I'm a chance mentor. I'm a real mentor to young people in my community, in inner cities, specifically in Chicago, and especially the young men, because I have been that young man who, if I just didn't know no better, the outcomes in me being a part of the general statistic going to jail were greatly increased. So when I see things like this and how it lessens the opportunities for the young men who look like me, young Black boys, young boys of color, like as the motto, as we say, like this bothers me. Black males in the youth. Now, this is the positive impact, which is why I really wish there was a voice before this change took place. That there was a voice up there sitting at that table, which is why we talk about the importance of having voices in every staff, every position, so forth and so on. That's why we say that that's so important. Black males in youth corps programs had employment at the rate of 90% compared to 60% of everybody else there, because they went through the program, right? They got certified, they got their certifications, they graduated with the stamp because Job Corps was respectable. Oh, you put the Job Corps. Welders in the city, welders in the Midwest, welders in Indiana, welders in Chicago, welders in Detroit, plumbers in Detroit, electricians, HVACs, Wisconsin. It was a that was a stamp. That was a stamp. If I'm sitting as the manager of your local plumber plant and I'm reviewing your resume, I see all the things. Oh, you graduated from Job Corps. Come on, man. You validated. You credible. Increased earnings. These participants experience 15. This is black, the impact on the Black community. So what I'm reading from this is the how it specifically impacts on a positive level the Black community, right? 50% increase over earnings. And then it has some additional benefits, so like educational attainment, reduce in criminal activity. Hold on, let me read this. Participants had lower arrest rates during and after the program compared to the other control groups. Can we talk about it? I really want you to get to it. Come on, man. Come on, man. You're trying to change the percent of rates of Black boys that end up incarcerated, that end up going to jail. Opportunities matter. Skills matter. I was still blue that they took shop out of high school. Period. I've been blue. Freshman year, I was too excited. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I finally get to do this shop thing. Hey, out of there. What? I like doing things with my hands. I built half the furniture in my well, yeah, pretty much. House that I'm sitting on, the tables that I got, bro. Majority of the stuff in my crib I put together with my own hands and a set of tools. No cap. Important skills, mechanics, bro. If I ain't necessarily gotta lift the car up, I can more than likely do it. Come on, man. Skills, bro. Skills, bro. Take away the opportunity from the kids, bro. Now, without now this now we finna go into another bag. This is how y'all know I feel passionate about it because usually the show don't be this long. Um, so there's another thing I wanted to talk about. I wanted to address us and the community as to like, all right, what are the alternatives to Job Corps for trade certificates? How can we, since this is happening in mass and like that, how can we help secure and steer our kids so they can continue their chosen career? That bro, I'm finna go be a plumber. I'm talking about in 2025. I'm pretty sure there was a 2025 graduating class. Are they graduating now? And if they aren't, how are we as a community going to support them? Right? Here are the alternatives because it's not the end all be all. Let me tell you something. I'm cut from that cloth. Well, I know who my ancestors are, what they did, but we had less of nothing. You think I'm finna, but you know how many times we got told no in 500 years we've done been here? Oh, we hustlers. We cut like that. So let me explain to you how I process this barrier. Let's get to it. Alternatives to Job Corps for trade certificates, community colleges, right? Programs through community college, HVAC welding, electrical plumbing. Shout out to Kennedy King. They always advertise. And I'm going to shout out them specifically because I always see them advertise for auto mechanics and just trades, right? So access to open enrollment, apprenticeship programs, right? Offered through unions for constructions, correction. Shout out to Oasis who helped a group of young boys learn about the real estate industry through construction. And when they finished the program, they were able to say that they were real estate owners, right? And I really, really appreciate them, right? So workforce development boards, you got the locals, some that are free. Career onestop.org is one. Online trading, schools and platforms, as far as Penn Foster, Corsair, and RCC. Now, let's really talk about it. How Black-owned businesses and organizations can help us correctly. Create training hubs where businesses partner with local schools and not-for-profits to deliver access to trade training. This is where when our community is faced with the problem, for the ones who have wealth, are gaining wealth, we put our dollars together to still support our community because we know that without it, our kids will more than likely fail, right? Or be put in more than likely a real tough situation because they don't have that. So what are we going to do as men and as a community? So how are we going to put this together? Offer scholarships and sponsorships, right? Fund tuitions, material costs. See, bro, like we do that. So when I say I've done sponsorships and do sponsorships, bro, that's what I'm launch mobile training units, start registered apprenticeships, and partner with HBCUs, churches, and trade unions. Hey, bro, let's really get back to like what we've been doing from the go. When we had less, we stuck together and did more. So hey, they got less, so we stick together and we do more for them kids, bro. For them young adults, bro, because not all of them kids, but just for the ones who trying to make a difference, bro. I understand just from a cultural aspect of what it's like to be like, yo, my opportunity gone. Like, what is we doing? Then last and not least, examples of supporting Black trade workers, right? So organizations, like the Urban League, like Black Contractors Association, the NAACP empowerment programs, Tools and Tears, and Rebuild the Block, right? The Rebuild the Block gives grants for Black entrepreneurs and trade, tools and trades for young girls, especially for Black youth. The NAACP is a career training for youth mentorship. The Black Contractors Association is a trade education and job placement program. And you shout out to Urban League because they are vocational training and workforce readiness. So what I'm saying for our community, hey, bro, look, that hurt, but we got to get to it. Oh. But that's the show. And as always, I'm out, y'all. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, follow me on Twitch. Come to the Twitch class. Follow me on TikTok, all social media platforms, Prince Marcel, everywhere. Let's get to it.